Okay then, welcome along again everyone. This time we're back for round 9 of RPM Season 4 and it's time for the Temple of Speed around the Monza circuit in Milan. A bit of a quiet grid tonight, with just 13 drivers and only 12 available for qualifying, with Puggy having retired already. So plenty of points up for grabs for anyone who finishes. I believe 12th place is 6 points. I know 11th place is 8 points, so I'd imagine it's probably 6 or 7. So all they have to do is get it across the line. Obviously, we saw in the Monday practice race that people seemed incapable of taking turn 1. So let's hope that that has, they've nullified those problems already. And the drivers are hopefully going to be up for some clean racing. And we should finish the race, hopefully, fingers crossed, with at least 9 or 10 drivers. That would be nice. Obviously one big incident will be very costly, and we could have quite a scarce grid by the end of the race. So we've got a couple of drivers already making their way around on a hot lap. It's the Ferrari and one of the Red Bulls. But since we've stayed with him, we're going to ride on board for the first lap of the session with Deck. See how he gets on as he opens up DRS, heads down towards the braking zone of turn 1, reaching speeds of over 217 miles an hour. Just clocked 218 there before he's hard on the brakes, back down to a low speed corner, low speed chicane, maybe 50 miles an hour. Braking down again into the Dell'Orgia as they head down to Lesmo. Lesmo 1, 5th gear corner, get back on the power, let it drift over to the right before the second of the two Lesmos. Lesmo 2, turn 5, take a bit more curb on the inside and let it run outside. Heading down towards the fast left-right of the Ascari chicane, 100 metre board, braking down, take all the curb on the left, all the curb on the right, and avoid the curb on the left. A little dip in that inside curb can really send the car facing back on itself. And now again, 50 metre board through the long stretching parabolica corner before you get your foot flat to the floor again. Shorten distance towards the line, and that time is enough for P2, but still significantly behind the lap time of Booty, who's posted a 1:20.599. So a good time from him. There's a McLaren off, and that's Westy in the wall at the Ascari chicane. He may well, by the looks of him on the track map, he may well have put a foot on that inside curb that I was just talking about. It's horrible. Most drivers have done that at least once before. So that's the first on-track retirement of the session, and it's the only McLaren tonight. So very disappointing from my perspective there. But we go on with Vlat. I'm not sure if that was full pace. He may have made a mistake. He went all the way down to 4th gear and came out quite tight, but he heads down nonetheless towards the final braking zone. We've got all the times racking up. Booty's time yet to be beaten close there by Stubby and Vlat. Okay, Vlat's only now going on a hot lap, but he forgot to turn off his ERS. Sorry, Matt. Jesus. I need to get that in my head. It's not Vlat, it's Matt. I've been over this once before. So, we'll watch on then as he goes round. The only driver on a hot lap as it stands, I believe. And Matt is the championship leader after I made a mistake last week with another Matt, who is not the championship leader. So he'll be wanting to improve on that time. Let's hope his ERS doesn't get too low. Oh, that's a big bit of oversteer there. Coming out of Lesmo 1. Compromised him a little bit, but it won't matter now. As he opens DRS. Heading down towards the Ascari chicane once again. 53.6 in the second sector there. Avoiding the left, good, and using all the track available to him on the right. Reaching over 200 miles an hour. Is it going to be enough to take pole position? A 1:25.98 required after the first runs, and it's enough for P3. Just over 3/10 behind pole position, and obviously Stubby there. No more than 7/100ths off as well. Maverick is the next to come around. He is on his outlap now. The Haas driver yet to set a time. The only driver yet to set a time. So the track will be ramping up as more and more tyre gets put down. More and more rubber gets put down onto the track. Ready for the final runs toward the end of the session. Got some movement there in the middle of the pack. I think Frax may have just taken some time out. Or was it the Aston Martin, perhaps, of Jabba Jacka, who's heading into turn 1 now? Anyway, let's ride on board with Maverick. See what time he can post on his first run of the evening. Breaking down into turn 1. Getting it nicely and tidy through. Uses first gear. And now you want to keep it tight as you head round the Curva Grande. Turn 2 down towards the La Loggia. Difficult braking zone, a crucial curb on the left. Take too much of that and that'll send you careering off and it'll ruin your entire lap. All the way down to second gear there, interestingly. On the grass a little bit, and he keeps it together through Lesmo. Gets the rear wing open, reduces his drag, again down toward Ascari. Avoiding the obstacles there on his way through. And heading down toward Parabolica once again. No changes at the top, as we've got some drivers making their way around for their second runs. Others opting to stay in the pits just for a little bit longer. You don't need to rush. And now let's see. Maverick posts only a 1:22.3, enough to move him up one position ahead of the reserve driver for this evening. Spivey? I'll go Spivey. Or CJ. Let's go CJ. Let's ride on board with the pole sitter then. Is he on a lap? Or is he... He may well be on a lap. Let's watch on. His ERS is depleting, so he may well be on a lap. Let's see if he improves. I've completely missed him on his outlap there. It was the other Alfa Romeo of Mikel who was coming around the Parabolica now. I thought this may have been booty, but nevertheless, he gets a good exit there, a little bit of oversteer. But he uses all the track available to him. There's an issue down in Sector 3. No, there's not. It's just the Williams or the Alpine. I believe that would be deck. Yes, and it is the Alpine. Cool. Not throwing it all onto the table just yet. Another yellow flag. That's just Maverick getting out the way. As more or less all of the drivers, in fact yes, all of the drivers are on track. The only remaining in the garage are the two retirees. So I missed the sector times and I should have the tabs open. I do. And he crosses the line to improve by 2.5 tenths. A 1:23.55. Great lap. Stubby's on an out lap. Mikel is flying, the teammate of Booty. Booty holds the fastest sector 1, fastest sector 2, and Stubby fastest sector 3. as he comes into the pit lane. Must have made a mistake, not worth wasting the time on an additional outlap. We've got a Red Bull heading down now. We also have his teammate Smithy, who is not on a lap. He's just come out of the pit lane. And we have the Aston Martin, who's also setting off. And who is this in behind him? Oh, really low ERS there by CJ as he heads around the Parabolica. He's surely going to pit. Yes, he's going to pit. He must have made a mistake, because that is in the 130s before he exits Parabolica. We've got two Ferraris very close by heading down toward turn 1. One looks to have finished the lap, Frax, because he's only got 25% ERS, and the other 60, so seems they've both again forgotten to disable ERS. Let's watch on and see if they both plan to take a fast lap. Now Frax isn't going to complete the lap before he runs out of ERS. He's barely going to reach the end of sector 1, so let's hope the Ferraris don't compromise each other. He's lost time in sector 1 already, and he's not backing out, so he must be unaware of the ERS situation and the fact that his teammate is no more than 5 car lengths ahead of him. Now he's going to get DRS, he'll get a little bit of a tow as well, but let's hope they don't put each other alongside. Oh, and deep there, he's kept it within track limits, but that'll have lost him time. You'd imagine he'll just come in to pit at the end of this lap as ERS on the bare minimum now. So let's watch on with Reuse, who will finish the lap as he heads around the Parabolica. High degradation on those left-hand tyres there. And he does dive into the pit to the teammate, and he crosses the line, improves by 0.3 and moves up into the top 5 on the 3rd row of the grid. Still a big margin, 0.6 off pole position. And just over a second separating the top 10. We've got Matt heading around on a lap down toward Ascari. Let's see how he takes it. Good braking, good entrance, good mid corner, not a bad exit either. That's good. Is he improving though? No one is yet to beat the sector times that I listed earlier. He'll be looking to improve by at least a 10th, obviously, to take a position ahead of Mikel. It'll take 0.4 to move up onto the front row of the grid, and he does exactly that. 4:20, yes lad, up onto the second row of the grid there. Great lap by Matt. Still just over a 10th away from pole position. He's going to get one more opportunity to find that time. Whether he does or not, we'll have to wait and see, as Zabit Xhaka heads into the pit lane, and Reuse, that is, heading in for his in-lap. We've got Stubby, who is also on an in-lap, and Deck is flying, so let's ride on with Deck. Hopefully he doesn't come through any traffic. Through Lesmos. Now down, he's not going to pick up a slipstream from the cars ahead. And he's invalidated there, unfortunately, as he heads through the Ascari chicane for the second time. Got some support there coming in from Harry. Let's go, Deck. Well, indeed, but unfortunately he's invalidated his lap, so he's going to dive into the pit lane in the final 3 minutes of the session. And before the final runs then, Booty is the lead at the minute. A 10.5 gap to him. And his teammate Mikel has the track to himself, so he's not going to look to provide any slipstreams. He's just going to go it on his own as his teammate exits the pit lane. Now, if they time this correctly, they could help each other out. Booty will have to slow down to give him a tow down toward Parabolica at the end of his lap. But the man on the second row of the grid starts his lap then. He needs a good 3 or 4 tenths to take only one position. Half a second if he wants to stick it on the front row of the grid. And those sector times yet to be beaten. We've got Jones joining the session, so he may be here for the race, which is good to see. He'll obviously start toward the back of the grid, but it's good to have 2 McLarens fighting in this race. Let's see then, is he improve? Have I missed the sector time already? I think I have. Oh no, it's about to appear right now. He's up, not enough for a position. So it looks as though he's going to just hold what he's got in P5. And he's going to get a little slipstream there. He is going to get one off his teammate. Has he backed out of the lap then? Why is he backed out of the lap? He was up. His teammate was giving him a slipstream. Yes, it's not enough for that position, but you need all the time you can get. And he's not going to get a chance to go for another run. Interesting decision there by Mikel, even if it was just worth half a tenth. That could be all the difference if Bertie is unable to capitalise. Now again, are these the 2 Ferraris? Yes, it is the 2 Ferraris. The pair of them on a hot lap. Now this is very close, and he's obviously going to get the slipstream, but he's going to be compromised, because come the second DRS zone, his teammate's backed out the way, and he's lost it. Now, that's not ideal either. The pair of them will struggle to improve after those 2 mistakes. Obviously, Frax is invalid, and he won't have time to make it round to start another lap. And unfortunately, Reuse is 4 tenths down. So I believe that will be it for the Ferraris. Mikel may well keep the time that he had, unless Zabajaka can find 3 tenths. Let's see how he does coming out of the first chicane then. Foot to the floor, tight to the right. And that's an issue for Booty, who is either getting out the way or he's gone off track. Let's stay with... okay, yeah, look, so there's the 10th. So that puts him now just half a tenth behind the time that Mikel stood from his second run. There's more 2, good curb, good exit, good power, DRS. He's giving someone in behind him a nice little slipstream. Stubby, who is still in for a chance at pole position, 2 tenths the margin. Let's watch on then. Will Zabijaka take Mikel in P4? It's likely that he takes P5, but will he be able to get onto the second row? Let's watch and see. Parabolica. Shortest run to the line. Zabijaka puts it up to P4 indeed. And Stubby takes pole position into the 119. The 119.974. Great final lap there. Unfortunate for Booty, but he was beaten by a hefty margin, nearly 4 tenths. So a great final lap by Stubby, and I believe it's Smithy, the only driver remaining, as he comes across the line and he moves up a couple of positions to end the qualifying session. So the Alfa Romeo of Booty held pole position for 2 of the runs, and then with no time remaining, Stubby comes along, beats his time by 3.82 and takes pole position, the only driver into the 119s. He and Booty then round off the front row. Matt and Zabajaka the second, Mikel and Reuse in the third row, Deck and Smithy, and then the reserve CJ, followed by the Ferrari of Frax and Maverick, and then the 3 DNF drivers, including Jones, who has joined the session ahead of the race. A second separating the top 7, and no grid lockout for a team, so every man for himself at the start of the race. In the end, Booty held the fastest Sector 1 and 2, but Stubby came around and took the fastest Sector 3 with a 27.060. As we'll know now, the formation lap has been re-enabled. EA have pulled the finger out and done something about the lag, which is always good. I'm just going to get myself comfortable. Oh, Jesus. I sound like an old man. I promise I'm not. Oh, it's way better. I'm going to grab a drink and let the guys head round for the formation lap, and then we'll be ready to get underway. So then, the tyres. Let's see what people have opted for. It is a full grid of mediums with the exception of the Ferrari of Frax and the AlphaTauri of Big Puggy. At the back of the grid, who've gone for the alternate strategy. I didn't get a chance to catch the senior division last night, but I know in the practice race there was a lot of safety cars. Almost too many safety cars. So the AWS pit stop strategy says the medium tyres could last between 12 and 15 laps, so you'd assume the hards could go a few laps further than those. However, there's likely to be a safety car before the halfway point in the race, which will allow the medium tyre runners to get themselves into the pit lane. The two McLarens, my guys, starting together at the back, so fingers crossed they can just take it easy going into turn 1, avoid the imminent carnage. Let's be honest, there's going to be carnage, and hey, if all these guys get through without, then big respects, but can I see it happening? No, not really. As Stubby leads them down the grid toward its grid slot. Now obviously that the formation lap is back on, it means you have to do your own grid stop. So let's see, I'm putting pressure on him here, but let's see if he gets himself in a good position. Yes, he has. Good stuff. As the rest of the grid line up, let's see, any disqualifications, or are we going to have a full grid? There's usually always one, but it looks like, oh, there is always one. And this time it's Maverick. Okay then. Oh, the positions went all over the place. I can't see the lights, but we're going to have 5 lights. And the Grand Prix is underway. I want to get a different angle as they head down towards turn 1. Booty's got a great run. We've got a few gainers there. Big Puggy from the back. They've gone too wide into turn 1. Stubby's going to be beaten around the outside, and Booty takes the lead. The provisional pole position sitter has taken the lead from the start of the race. And Vlat's now sniffing inside his gearbox, looking to take P2 as they head down Rogia in toward the Lesmos. Let's take a look then. Zabajaka's down a few positions. CJ's dropped as well. And the big gainer there, Puggy from toward the back of the grid, already finds himself inside the top 8. As they head down towards Ascari. Congratulations, they all made it through turn 1. Obviously a bit of contact, a few issues there for CJ and Maverick, having dropped a few positions, and Zabajaka included. But at least there was no yellow flags, no safety cars, so these guys can get racing. Looks like everyone got away without damage as well. There were some issues on my behalf from the task last week. So fingers crossed this updates itself and we can actually get some data. Booty with a 126 flat. You gotta love flat times. Now, I'm not entirely sure why it says there's a minute between Mikel and the driver, but Deck is looking to sniff up the inside. He's cleared him. And he's through. Good move. Just caught it there. These times are going to make it difficult to keep track of overtakes, but nevertheless, we've got a 10th here to Zabajaka, who obviously has the pace. We don't know what his pace is like compared to Big Puggy because he didn't qualify, but you know, when you drop down the order, you've at least got the qualifying pace to try and make your way back through. Obviously, qualifying is very different to race pace. It's degradation to bear in mind. Nearly a second gap from P1 to P2, 9/10 as they head through Ascari. And a second already to Matt. Jesus, to Matt in P3. Big gaps opening up, and there's been a move there. Mikel's dropped behind the Ferrari. He's going to look to get it back around the outside of Parabolica. He's got his foot to the floor. That's a great move if he can get it pulled off. The wheel to wheel down toward the line. Reuse has held him, and he's got ahead. It was a good effort. Couldn't quite stick it around the outside. Westy closing into Smithy. McLaren on the Red Bull. He thinks about it, but he's going to hold in behind for the time being as Deck looks to put a move in on Matt around the outside. Is he going to get it done? He's taking a wide berth, giving him plenty of room, and he's got it done. Deck up to P3. The Alpine takes the championship leader as they head down again towards the Lesmos. Deck with a great start, up from P7 into the podium places after only 3 laps, but that gap now 2.5 seconds as a Ferrari off in the back there. It's Reuse made a mistake. He's kept it on track. I don't think he's got any damage. Tass says no, but a scary moment there for the Ferrari driver coming out of the second Lesbo. He may have dipped a wheel in the gravel on the exit, and it may have just sent him crewing over, but Vlad retaking Deck. It's going to be a good battle for the podium. If anything, if these opening laps are anything to go by, DRS will be enabled. So Deck will get that as he opens his rear wing and charges down on the Red Bull. He pulls out, takes the position. Stubby, Booty's taking the lead going into the chicane. Matt's held it around the outside and he keeps the position. Stubby leads the race. Still tight though. Look at them going wheel to wheel as they head round La Rogia. Curva Grande even into the De La Rogia now. And Stubby holds the lead of the race. So the pole sitter regains the position that he lost at the start. So the battle for P1 and P2 and 3 and 4 heating up as Smithy takes Zabajaka as they went through, and there's a yellow flag. It's Stubb, the race lead, has lost it. Coming out of Lesmo 2, he's going to have to wait until the entire field go by. So that's the race leader to the back of the grid. I don't know if there was contact, maybe he just dipped it. And for some reason, CJ has let him back through. The safety car has been deployed, even though everybody is still on track, so the FIA love a little bit of prematurity, don't they? I guess it was because he was stationary for so long. You can tell Booty thought about it there. Let's see what other drivers do. Most will stay out, I'd imagine. Yes. Too early to change onto the hards. A little dummy there perhaps by Reuse, but he doesn't bait Big Puggy into the pit. So everyone stays out. Let's see if Stubby got any damage. Yes, Stubby did get damage. The TAS again not telling me what that damage is, so you know, that's not great, but whatever. He comes in and gets a new front wing. He's gone for the softs, so he will hope that there's another safety car within the next 8 or so laps, and he can get onto the hard tyres to see out the race. The safety car has picked up the leader as they head through the first Lesmo chicane. Not a chicane, just the first Lesmo. So Booty leads. Deck up from P7, finds himself in P2. Matt, championship lead in P3. But Big Puggy, the notable gainer from the start of the race in the opening 5 laps. So as it stands then, Matt has a 104 point advantage ahead of Jones of the McLaren in the drivers' standings, so he's going to obviously extend that gap as things stand. Plenty of time for that to change, of course. And it's very tight from there on in. Only 29 points separate 3rd to 7th. 3rd to 6th even. Let's get this sorted again. We can have nothing on there. Minimise all of this. And that's all fine as well. Very quiet in chat tonight for those of you here. Let's see, let's get some support going. You can keep me entertained while you're at it. And let's see, safety car could be in this lap. I wouldn't be surprised if it went for one more. But let's see if we get the notice to tell us. Now, Booty is backing up the pack, so I would assume that means the safety car is in. Yes, it is. Very good. So let's ride on board with some of the race leaders, the championship lead in particular, Matt. Got Daniel there supporting the Mercedes guys, and there aren't any Mercedes guys I don't think racing tonight, so good one. And Booty's going to hold the pack before he gets his foot to the floor, and he has done. Let's see, they're all darting around there as they look to try and find some extra space. That may well be the Aston Martin, who picks up a position. They're going side by side through the first chicane, but Smithy holds on. There's an issue at the back, I think. No, someone may have just gone off. The Ferrari's dropped down and picked up a penalty. Has he got damage? He's losing a lot of positions, or has he just lost his momentum? Not the greatest safety car restart there as the McLaren and the Williams go wheel to wheel. And the Williams has got a great exit through Lesmo 1. Difficult place to overtake. He's going to chuck it up the inside, and Westy concedes the position. No DRS for 2 laps. So Booty regained his lead at the start. Puggy's closing in on Frax in behind as they head down toward Ascari. cautious there on those hard tyres. Let's check those while we're here. Freshest, obviously, Stubby coming in on the softs, and Mikel has lost out, but he's put his foot to the floor there and again kept it around the outside. No DRS. And Frax retakes that lead with Mikel ducking back into the slipstream. Is he going to dive? No, he's not. And he's got Puggy sniffing up behind him there, looking to make the most of whatever he can. And Stubby takes a position on Zabajaka on those soft tyres, making the most of those. And Puggy might get a run. If it wasn't for Frax's slipstream, he may have. Breaking down third gear, taking apex on both corners. Little slow exit there by Frax. That's going to open the door for Mikel, who's going to think better of it and hold what he's got through Lesmo 1. And he's got a better exit again on Frax. He's going to deploy some ERS. Frax defends the inside. It's a difficult place to defend. Stubby's picked up another position on Smithy. Oh, there's contact. He's taken him off the track. He's on the sausage curves. He's kept it on the road, thank God. And there's an issue. Jones has spun through Ascari. Is there going to be another safety car? He's kept it going. We should be okay with just yellow flags. He's dropped right to the back of the pack. Let's see if he opts to pit. And there's another issue there. Stubby, the race leader, spun again. Oh, and he's collected. That's a poor re-entry. And he's caused chaos there. That's going to be in the steward's room because he should not be re-entering the track like that. On a blind corner like Parabolica. He's taken out the reserve driver who would have had no points anyway, but that's going to be a significantly damaged car, I would imagine. He's going to box, but what good is boxing when you've probably got damaged side pods? So after just 2 laps of running, the soft tyre runner, the man who should have had the most pace, drops the ball once again and brings out the safety car for a second time. Gives Jones a chance to get off of those tyres. Come on the hards. And Stubby's gone yet again for another set of soft tyres. Refusing to go onto the hards. That'll be his last set of new tyres, I would imagine. Again, I've given up on the task system because it's just a bit useless. It doesn't tell me anything. So I'm just guessing here. I've got no damage indication. As Matt even has lost it under the safety car. Huge in the context of the championship then. Championship leader with a very rookie mistake, unfortunately dropping it under the safety car. He just has to ease it around the circuit and instead he's lost it. He may have been warming his tyres and he may have dropped it. And that puts him right behind the fresh tyre runner of P2 in the championship of Jones. So that'll be a very interesting restart. Jones will be looking to pick him off. And he's going to box. So Jones is going to get the position. If he can get himself around. I don't think he'll be adhering to the delta anymore. So Jones should now maybe even deploy a little bit of VRS. Try and get himself ahead of Matt. Jesus. Ahead of Matt. Let's keep an eye on this then. Who's going to get track position? Matt heads down the pit lane. Jones heads down the straight. It's going to be very tight. Jones has got him. So, P2 in the championship takes P1 on track after a mistake under the safety car. And the entire field is more or less levelled off on tyres, aside from Maverick. Oh, Stubby's retired. I missed that. He came in, put the softs on. That might have just been the game acting how it chooses. So that incident has retired both cars involved. And, oh dear me, he's dropped it. Is Vlak going to be entitled to take the position? No, he's not. What is it with these guys dropping it? You know, you've got freezing cold tyres, you're in no rush. Just keep it on track, lads. Just keep it on track. 2 guys at the front, Frax and Puggy, 9-lap old tyres, so they're yet to pit. They're going to have to pit at some point, obviously. And the safety car will go around for one more lap. Now I think, is that Stubby's AI still on track? It may just disappear at some stage. It's stopped, it's disappeared, thank God for that. Good stuff. So we're heading now onto lap 10 or 11 even. So when they cross the line, there will be 15 or so laps of the race remaining. Booty holds net P1, Deck net P2 and Smithy P3. So great starts for them given their starting position. Let's check. Smithy up net 5 positions, Deck up net 5 positions, which is great for them. And obviously Puggy and Frax will drop down back to where they started when they come into pit, unless of course there's another safety car which they can take advantage of. Maverick still catching up to the back of the pack. He'll hopefully be there by the time the safety car reaches Ascari. Got the sweet, sweet sound of a fresh bottle. Oh yes. Oh yes. So there's the message from race control. Safety car in this lap. Throttles are limited down the back straight as the safety car speeds off down toward Parabolica to come back into the pit lane to allow green flag racing once again. Maverick has joined the back of the pack and there's been an overtake there. Westy has taken Bertie, which you won't be pleased with. Not sure if it was an accident or if Bertie dropped the ball, but nevertheless let's watch on with the leaders and see when Frax takes them away. He's gone slightly earlier than before. That's going to give the guys in behind a great slipstream all the way down toward turn 1, and Booty has got a great launch here on Puggy. I think he's going to take him. He is, and Westy has taken Mikkel. He's up 2 places. He dives down the inside. He's kept the wheel, gone deep there. That's going to be a penalty surely. Frax another 5-second penalty as Mikkel drops down a few places. Wheel to wheel there between the Alfa Romeo. Reuse has dropped all the way down. That must have been a mistake as he was way higher than that. He was 4 or 5 places higher than that during the safety car as he fights Maverick toward the back of the pack, and Zabajaka takes Smithy. Oh, and a little bit of contact there. That could be front wing damage. It was minor. Hopefully not. So Reuse finds himself at the back of the grid as Matt takes Jones, and he's made contact through Lesmore. Avoided the Ferrari. That was avoidable from what I saw, and he's taken out Maverick in the meantime. So Jones once again toward the back of the field as he lets his championship rival extend the points gap. Vat kept it on track. And shaky there by Westy. He's going to get taken potentially by 2 cars. There's an issue in sector 2. Maverick has only just got it back on the road. Westy's made it all the way down the straight toward Ascari in the time that he's managed to get it back on the road. And Maverick is really struggling there. I hope he doesn't bring out the safety car again. He's kept it going and there's no need for a safety car as Deck retakes the position which I believe he held. He may have lost it at some point in that opening lap, but he retakes P3 and holds on to it. Puggy on those old tyres cannot hold on. He's going to have to pit. Frax has done well, in fairness to him, to hold on, and he hasn't used any more DRS than his rivals around him. As he locks up there, I was going to check the penalties. 10 seconds for Frax, 2 corner cuts. Now I know I believe the corner cuts are added when you pit, so come the end of the race, he should be alright, but he's going to have to sit in his pit box for 10 seconds before his mechanics can change his tyres. Smithy closing in to Zabajaka, and he's going to get the move done as they head into Ascari. He's got the inside line, braking deep, difficult to avoid contact, and he just about does. Nearly sent the Aston Martin spinning and takes a hell of a lot of curb there. That's risky. Vlad is out. He's out. The championship lead out of the race in Ascari. Huge. Jones drives past. So the championship lead gets no points this week. Jones really needs a good effort. And Frax, is he pitted? Yes. He hasn't made a mistake. He's just pitted, but the safety car is out again. Oh, God. The painful count to 10 for Frax. Or is it only 5? It's only 5, so he's still going to finish. The corner cut mustn't have counted. Maybe it was a pit entry. No, it wasn't a pit entry because he hasn't pitted before. I'm surprised it didn't just take both of them off. Nevertheless, he's pitted onto... Are they medium tyres? Yes, he's gone with fresh mediums, which will be a difficult stretch getting them to the end of the race. He's going to have to really look after them under this safety car. But for the third safety car in 14 laps, welcome along then to Safety Car Simulator for the 17th week in a row. Seems like all these guys do is drive behind the safety car. Trying to work out if the safety car stays out for 2 or 3 laps, then we've had between 6 and 9 laps under the safety car in a 14 lap race. So at least half the race has been at 40% pace, which isn't really what you want. Nevertheless, here we are. So, Big Puggy still hasn't pitted. You'd think surely he's going to come in now. Yes, he'll drop all the way to the back of the grid, but you can't go for much longer. And if he doesn't box under the safety car, he'll just lose more time than what he would now. At least he might be able to rejoin the back of the pack, so let's see what he does. We've already seen he doesn't quite have the pace on those tyres to stay ahead of the 2 drivers in front. So surely he's going to box. Okay, he's chosen to stay out. So by the time the safety car enters the pits, those tyres are going to be 16 laps old, as Reuse comes into the pits on only 4 laps completed. So he opts for a set of soft tyres, which again won't last 10 plus laps, so he's probably going to have to come in again. Not entirely sure what the strategy of Puggy is at this point. Obviously minimum 8 points up for grabs to anyone who can finish the race. Westy finds himself in a great P6. Let's check after those DNFs. Let's see where that puts people. So everyone is obviously +1 position due to Puggy having yet to stop. So Westy up 8 positions net. Jones up 5 positions net, being a little bit biased when the McLaren boys talking about them there. But Westy the biggest gainer after Puggy comes into the pit lane. And the safety car in this lap. So when we cross the line, it will be lap 16. There'll be 12 laps of racing remaining, and it will be a hard stretch for those the one driver on the soft tyres there at the back. Reuse, I guess he needs the pace to try and get some positions, but again it'll be difficult to keep them to the end, and they'll definitely drop off. Also for Frax, he stands a better chance of keeping them to the end, but I also think that will be unlikely. So let's ride on board then. Once again, let's go with Zavajaka this time, because I've got a feeling he might get one of these guys at the restart. Away well, Booty. And Zabajaka making the most of those fresher tyres. It's going to be alongside Puggy before the end of the braking zone, just before the 100-metre board. Puggy close there, he's got to bail out of it. And that's him dropped really far back. Oh, there's chaos. Chaos. Puggy has caused chaos. And he's at the back of the pack. He should have just come in at the pit lane. He's really mistimed his braking there. Nearly went straight into the back of deck. And Zabajaka has gained a position, finds himself on the podium. Smithy sniffing around the inside. And as he made contact with Zabajaka there, he's taken the smart course and gone off the track, but lost 2-3 positions in doing so. Nearly makes contact with Frax on the inside. So Westy really gaining now. Obviously the net position is now actual position. So he is up 9 places. Great drive from the McLaren driver there. So after all of that, staying out, Puggy finds himself toward the back of the pack and a little bit run wide there. Westy had an opportunity to get a better run, but he's compromised himself. Thank God there wasn't another safety car there going into turn 1. But I believe a lot of cars were held up in that issue. Jones has taken Zabajaka through Parabolica and gets a great exit. Absolutely flies around the corner. So Zabajaka, with that mistake through just before Lesmo, has cost him 4 or 5 places there. Again, I didn't see if there's any contact, as Westy holds what he's got, and Bertie and Maverick exchanging positions as they go into turn 1. Kept it nice and neat and tidy. Kept his tyres on the track and gets his foot to the floor. Frax again sniffing around the back of Westy. Is he going to choose to dive? Oh, very close. Oh, and he's made contact with the rear. Is he going to stick a wheel at the inside? No, he's going to dive back in behind Westy. He's holding what he's got. Those medium tyres proving to be slightly more effective in the opening laps post safety car here. And he's going to put himself... Is he going to defend the inside? He's not going to put himself alongside going into the sky. He's going to reserve his battery. Both drivers with minimal ERS, even just after the short time beyond the safety car. Reuse has made a mistake. He's gone all the way around the track. And he finds himself at the back of the grid again on those soft tyres. Soft tyres haven't done anyone any favours this race. Everyone who's been on them has struggled to keep it on the road. But he has over a second gap to P2 and a massive gap there after just 1 lap of racing to Smithy in P3. Frax closing in on Westy, but cannot get the move done. And the same goes for Zabajaka closing in on the other McLaren, but remains put. Ten laps remaining then, here at the Grand Prix d'Italia de Monza, if that's how they would say it. Probably not, but I said it anyway. It's better than the Emilia Romagna, whatever they call it, Circuit de Emilia Romagna d'Italia de European de San Marino Grand Prix. 2 tenths. Frax closing in. Westy flashing, low ERS for both drivers. And remember, Frax has that 5-second time penalty, not only 3 but 5 seconds. Gaps starting to appear up and down the grid. 1.8, 6 and 8 between the top 4. And a 2-second gap between Zabajaka and Maverick, so no overtakes on the cards. Puggy has a chance to get Maverick, but again he's staying out on those very, very old, now 18 lap old hard tyres. I don't know how they're still intact. They must be well into 50% now. He's going to have to pit soon. I guess he's going to extend them at probably this lap, box to hards, and sorry, box to softs, and try and complete the race. Oh, reuse has taken Mikel. I noticed there was a very close margin between Frax again. Contact there, he's dipped his tyre there into the gravel on the left hand side, and reuse loses the position. on the soft tyres to Lesmo 1. Bit of oversteer, losing the car. Frax nowhere near Westy to make a move. Both, wow, Westy really suffering on the RS. And a big gain there. Wow, he's made at least 4 tenths up just in that one braking zone alone. So he's going to use the remainder of his battery to try and set up a move down into turn 1. He's going to try and get a good exit out of Parabolica. Keeps it nice and tight, gets his foot to the floor. That's a better exit than Westy. And he's going to have DRS assistance. It looks as though the Ferrari is going to take the indefensible. Jones is pitted and he's picked up a penalty. Puggy's finally coming to the pits. So the 2 positions there for reuse and Mikel as Frax goes deep, big time deep. He hasn't got turn 1. Oh dear me. He's really struggled going through turn 1, picking up a penalty. He says, sack off driving around the boards, I'm just going to drive straight through them, Sebastian Vettel-esque. And Frax worked so hard to take that position. And with that 5-second time penalty, he's now dropped down even more. And Jones the same, entering the pit lane for speeding. And he's put the inters on. Oh, it's raining. Okay, that's okay. Now, this is spicy. I didn't get a weather report, but I have noticed it is raining. So this could be absolutely huge for Westy. 18 seconds the margin. And the pit stop will only be 20 seconds or so. Now, it may not be too wet for the slicks to become ineffective just yet. But with 8 laps of racing remaining, this could play massively into the hands of Jones if drivers start sliding around the track. And in the context of the championship, with the race lead out, there's a good chance that Jones could get some hefty points and close the margin. So some light stutters. A lot of drivers choosing to come in then, not taking any chances or boxing to the intermediate tyres. So let's see where Jones goes. He needs to get his foot to the floor. He needs to just use that ERS. 3 positions up for grabs for Jones as he heads down over the start line. He's not going to get as many as he could have. He's going to maybe get 2 or 3. Just pick the Aston Martin up. Now let's check who hasn't boxed for inters. Let's check the tyres. Look at this then. So 4 drivers remain on those slick tyres. So as it stands, Booty P1, Smithy P2, Westy 3 and Jones 4. So some great points for McLaren. As it stands, commentator's curse, but potentially a double McLaren podium. Potentially. Not as it stands, but potentially. Now obviously there's still a big gap to the leaders, so they could come in and they'll have a chance to yeah, everything I've just said in the last 10 seconds is completely wrong. Oh, Deck staying out! Deck staying out! Maverick really struggling. And he's... Whoa, he nearly lost it there. And he's lost the position to Mikel, who pits. And why are these guys staying out? Oh, he's picked up a penalty. The other 2, the only 2 remaining, have come in to put the inters on. But Deck and Maverick, who are on old hards, have chosen to stay out. Now that is a bold call, and if I'm going to be honest, I don't think they're going to hold it together. 6 laps, there's just no way to hold that on a wet track. At least with pace, you know. Big changes going on back there. Has there been an issue, or are those just the guys coming out of the pits? I think there's been a few overtakes in the pits. Obviously Jones has that time penalty as well, which is going to cost him for that potential podium, so I'm not going to get too overzealous about that. Well, let's see what Deck does. Surely he's going to box now. He's got time. He's not going to lose too many positions. He would probably come out ahead of Booty anyway, with nearly a 20-second gap. If not, he'll only be a few seconds behind. Surely he boxes. Yes, he does. Avoids a penalty. Good entry. Now let's see what Maverick does. Again, surely has to follow suit. Really struggling there. Really struggling. So he boxes. So Booty retakes the lead of the race as Deck heads out now. Let's see how many positions he loses. He may only lose one more to the Red Bull of Smithy as he flies by him on those inters. You got to remember these guys have warmer tyres as well, so it's prime for Westy to try and pick off a position as he exits the pit lane. Nice and cautious there, aware of the slow car ahead. Westy struggling with ERS, as is Jones. Deck has 100%. So I think the McLarens may struggle, unless there's a mistake, to take that position. Two Ferraris very close together. No team orders at this stage, I would imagine. Let's hope they don't crash into each other. So no less than a second separating all of these drivers bar the two Ferraris on what are now very slippery conditions in the final few laps of this Italian Grand Prix, to just add some extra spice to an already pretty spicy race. The incident between Stubby and CJ, which again isn't ideal, and Deck picks up a time penalty. Interesting again there. So Westy provisionally on the podium after starting right toward the back of the grid. I believe he started second last, so in P13, which will be one hell of a climb up the grid. But the margins very significant as it stands. As I said, only now two cars within a second of each other. DRS will have been disabled now that we're onto wet tyres, so it's all just about the raw pace of the drivers, those who've managed to conserve some battery and those who've used it all up. Four laps is all that remains today. Deep there. Aston Martin's got a chance to take Jones on that 5-second time penalty. A little dive up the inside, but they're still wheel to wheel. They've gone through Lesmo 1 wheel to wheel. They're going to go through Lesmo 2 wheel to wheel. And Jones has cut him off there. Aggressive turn in. He's got that time penalty as well, so he's obviously trying to make the most of it, but could have been a netcode issue, but it's lucky that both drivers got out of that together. As Jones picks up another time penalty, so that's 8 seconds now for him, which will put him quite far down the order. Looks like we've ran out of the opportunity for a safety car, so we're going to be racing all the way to the checker. The Ferraris once again the closest pairing, but still not that close. The raw pace on the wet tyres really showing. Oh, huge lock up there by Frax as he goes deep into turn 1, keeps it on the road. Issue for Sector 2, Deck is out, fully out, retired, coming out of Lesmo 2, so that promotes Westy onto the podium. What a drive he has had if he can keep it on track, up from P13 all the way to the podium. Fingers crossed for you, mate. Bring home a podium for the McLaren team. That will be a great points haul. Oh, my bad. Frax, another penalty. Does that compound, or is it a new one? Just a new one. 8, 5 and 3 the penalties. And the gaps really starting to show in these final few laps Final 2 laps of this Grand Prix. The rain really coming down now. Still enough for the Inters. Obviously no one's going to be boxing now. But it hasn't let up. A little bit wide there by Puggy in the background. Just dipping a left tyre onto the grass. But he's kept it together. And really closing in on Jones. They may look for another move. Obviously Zabajaka will be aware of his time penalty. So he knows he doesn't have to be overzealous with this. He can just keep it close and he'll get the position nonetheless. Looks like P7 or P8 will be Jones's final position if things stay how they are. As Booty crosses the line for the final lap of the race. It's been a great night for him. Held qualifying to pole position until the final run. Lost out to Stubby, who subsequently DNF'd from the race. And Booty took the position more or less right at the start of the race. And again has more or less, by a couple of moments, held the lead of the race. So it's been a fine evening, a fine drive from him. The gap here really starting to appear between the two McLarens. All Westy has to do is keep it on the road and that podium will be his. So an interesting race, plenty of safety cars, plenty of drama and a little bit of rain at the end just to spice things up. And if Westy can bring this across the line, it will be his first double podium of the season. Last week in Spa, I think he finished in P2, which was his first podium of the season. And he's going to compound that great result with another one here. Booty, however, in the Alfa Romeo, rounds the final corner, and he wins the Italian Grand Prix RPM Season 4. Smithy comes across the line and Westy does hold on. And Jones, don't tell me Jones has got 10 seconds for an unserved penalty. So Westy grabs the podium. Zabajaka is promoted to P4, Puggy P5, which is a great result for him. Jones demoted to P6 after that 5-second time penalty. The Ferrari of Bertie in P7. Mikel P8 and the second Ferrari of Frax in P9, with the Haas of Maverick rounding off the top 10, and the finishes in P10. Jones then picks up driver of the day even after his late drop down there. Not to be rude, I feel like driver of the day deserves to go to Westy for getting the podium from P13 on the grid, but it's good to see the McLaren boys up there. Nonetheless, we're going to see some papaya on the podium in Italy, which is always good to see. Fingers crossed we see that from Brandon in Premier Division tomorrow. I won't be there to race, so it's all on him to bring the points home for the team. Booty though raises the trophy, the German driver, on one of the best podiums in motorsport over the course of Monza, the track of Monza even. Alfa Romeo, Red Bull and McLaren round off the top 3. And this is the final order then. You can see there a great drive from P13 and P14 from Puggy and Westy. Jones from 12 up to 6, which again is a great effort. All said and done. And your championship leader, Matt, with the DNF. So some points gained there. Not too significant, but still some points gained by Jones. And that is it. The 14 drivers, no more to scroll through. Fastest lap of the race actually ended up with Stubby before the rain came. I don't know if he gets the point because he didn't finish the race, but he may well do. Yeah, Cool. I hope you've enjoyed that. I said this last week, but I won't be here next week as I'm still abroad. So someone is going to have to fill in for me next week. But that's all from me. I hope those of you in chat have enjoyed. And I'm going to catch up with the Championship Division now. So that's all from me. And I'll catch you guys in a few weeks.